Hey.
Hey, yourself. What's for dinner?
I thought we'd eat light tonight. Just a big, healthy salad.
I was kind of looking forward to a steak.
We've been eating too much red meat lately.
I've got to keep up my strength.
Before you go any further, you better decide if you want your dessert before or after the main course.
I was kind of hoping for some wild hors d'oeuvres.
Hello and welcome to Control Alt Death. I'm Ben. I'm Ben Monster.
I'm Gabriel Chisano.
And welcome to our fifth episode.
Fifth episode.
Wow, we've
been doing it for more than a month.
Wow,
it's exciting.
Crazy. What's going on? What's up? What's up with you?
Oh, not too much. Just hanging out in the quarantine apocalypse.
Yeah.
Mad Max Death Race. How's life been with you?
Same old shit. Quarantine. And still working. I have to go into work, but I don't go in all day. So
that's good.
And lots of video games.
Oh yeah.
Lots of drawing and doodling. And that's about it, man.
How's your island doing on Animal Crossing?
Oh, it's doing good. I got my Able sisters. I guess they're a tailor shop. Right?
Yeah, tailor shop.
I'm still missing pears. Do you have pears?
I don't think so, actually.
Gotta get those pears. Gotta find someone who has them.
Yeah. If you have pears, let us know. We need some pears.
Yeah. That's about it,
yeah,
man. Not a whole lot going on. It's weird.
We've been watching some stuff though.
Oh yes, we have.
Yeah, it is a weird time. It is weird to zone out and watch a movie and then or a show or anything, and then you're done and you're like, oh wait, life is still super weird and fucking awful.
Yeah. Today's episode is about the movie Slugs, but before we get into that, we've also watched on Shudder. They just came out with a new series called Cursed Films, and the first episode was about the movie The Exorcist.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this series. I think this is going to be really cool.
Me too.
I really liked the first episode. Was awesome. I knew a lot about the lore or the urban legends of this movie,
right?
But it was still really cool to see all that behind the scenes footage and the interviews with other people was really cool. It was really done well, and I can't wait for more of these.
Yeah, so what the show is, it's basically they're 30-minute episodes, and they're like little mini documentaries about horror films that are like quote-unquote cursed, where a lot of bad things happened on set or after the film was came out, or so for The Exorcist, a lot of people died surrounding that movie, like family members of people in the cast, of people in the crew, and it came out at a time where this type of movie wasn't received well by certain groups of people, and they kind of talk about that and how people in different religions reacted to it, and it was really cool. And they interview a real exorcist who I won't say what happens, but at the very end when that gets wrapped up, I love that. I was like, okay, that's awesome. It's a really cool show. Next week is, I think, I don't remember. He said there's 2 next week, but I don't remember what they are. I think it's Poltergeist, maybe.
Okay.
And The Omen. I think those are the 2 ones.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Poltergeist definitely has some weird shit about it. I remember the real skeletons they used in that one scene with the swimming pool. Excuse me. And I think the older daughter in the movie died in like mysterious ways or something like that. There's something about her.
I think it was the little girl, wasn't it? Like the main kid?
She did die, yes. But
older daughter too?
Yeah, there's something about her that is messed up too. Yeah, it's weird. I'm not into that. Like, I don't believe in all that stuff, like the cursing and things like that. But it's very interesting to see all that stuff played out in a little documentary thing.
When you think about it, like, you know, there's probably a handful of movies or a handful of horror movies that have had horrible things happen, but how many like comedies where people have died on set or something where, and you don't think of it as a curse, but when you're filming The fucking Exorcist in the 70s, you think, oh my God, it's Satan. And it was really cool to hear about like how the studio played into that and how they used that to like promote the movie. Like that stuff is the stuff I find fascinating. Like how they use, like recently, I think with Joker, the whole shooting, the whole like don't go to the theater because it's going to get shut up. Like that was supposedly kind of leaned into by the studio a little bit to freak people out. Well, like, oh, this is going to be a scary time. We got to go see this. You know, I love stuff like that. It's awesome.
The
terrifying but awesome.
The one from Exorcist, the people passing out and don't go if you have a heart condition. It's like the roller coaster ride of a horror movie. You know, no pregnant women, things like that. Yeah,
that was funny. That was great.
Very cool.
Did you watch anything else?
Now I'm trying to think. Oh, you know what? Last night this is not a horror movie. We started watching MacGruber. Have you ever seen this movie?
I have.
I have not seen this movie, and
oh my goodness,
everyone told me this is a really funny movie. And I was like,
great.
It's a fucking SNL movie. It's based on a sketch that's kind of dumb. It was really funny. We didn't finish it because we did start it pretty late. But it was so far. It is a very funny movie.
Yeah, it's great, and I didn't know you'd never seen that. I think you'll really like. There's stuff that happens at the very end that is hysterical. I love that movie.
I think that was the only other movie. Wait, no, you know what? I started watching for like the 5th time. Friday the 13th, Part 4.
Oh, awesome!
So
now,
yes,
those are all on Shudder now.
Yes, all of 1 through 8 of Friday the 13th is on Shudder, and
that's awesome.
I highly recommend the fourth installment. That is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
yeah.
We talked about maybe doing something with those movies for this show, but I think we decided we want to save those for something special because those are just perfect. Yeah. I mean, they're not, but they're amazing. Yes. I watched a movie. I watched a movie called Swallow.
Oh, how was it?
So it's not. I mean, it's kind of billed as a horror movie. Some people describe it as a horror movie, but it's really not. It's really sad and really messed up. So basically, the story is this like housewife type woman. She married a rich guy who is seemingly like super perfect. He's got a great house, great family. She doesn't have to work, but she feels they kind of treat her like shit, and they kind of talk down to her a little bit. And they're all just a bunch of kind of rich assholes. And she develops this habit of swallowing things like marbles and batteries and nails. Whoa. And it's a real condition, I guess, and it's kind of how she's handling her life. I really enjoyed it up until, I won't say what it is, but there's a plot point that gets introduced like 70% into the movie, and I didn't like that, and then after that it kind of turned into something else, and it was kind of weird, but I really liked it, and it's shot beautifully. Like it's a very The cinematography is amazing. But
Nice.
I would definitely recommend it if that sounds interesting. I think it's only on Amazon. It's only available for rentals now, but I'm sure it'll be on Prime eventually. But yeah, it was a great movie. And that actress, I don't know her name, but I've never seen her before, and she's amazing.
Cool.
She's
That's
going to be
Swallow, right?
Swallow, yeah.
Right.
And that came out, I think last year I think this year or last year. It's pretty new.
I forgot. I started watching again. I've already seen it, but it's a documentary called "Shut Up, Little Man." Have you ever seen this?
No.
Okay.
What is this?
It is on. I believe it's on Amazon right now. Amazon Prime Video. It is a documentary about these two guys who move into an apartment in San Francisco in I think either late 70s, early 80s, maybe. And
This sounds familiar.
They live next door to a couple. I think they're a couple, but not really. It's just two dudes living together, and at like 3 or 4 in the morning, they have screaming fights, and this guy recorded most of their fights. And that's basically what it's about, and how
I have heard of this.
It goes viral, and it's really interesting.
Huh? What's that called? Shut Up, Little Man.
Yep, Shut Up, Little Man.
All right, I gotta watch that. That sounds awesome.
Oh, and I've been watching Dave on Hulu, which I watched an episode last night, and holy shit, I think it was one of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's. I mean, this show is billed as a comedy. It's about a white dude who's a rapper. His rapper,
Little Dicky.
His Little Dicky.
Yeah,
very funny, well written. This one episode, I will not spoil anything. It's different, very different, and really cool. I believe it's the 4th episode in. You do have to watch the other episodes to get the full effect of it, but blew me away. Awesome. It was awesome. Very, very cool.
I'm recording it. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
I want to watch that, and I want to watch Ozark season 3. Those are my two.
I have to get into that.
Oh god, it's so good. I've told you a million times, but it's so good. So there's one item I wanted to talk about in the news department. A couple weeks ago, we talked about how South by Southwest was canceled effectively because of the coronavirus. Well, Amazon and South by Southwest have teamed up, and they're going to be showing a film festival, like a collection of all of these movies. I don't know if it's all of them, but a huge amount of these movies. And it's going to be free. So you do need an Amazon account, but you don't need like Prime or anything like that. It's going to be totally free.
That's awesome.
So super excited for that. So that's going to be happening, I think, at the end of the month, they said, end of April. So there's no specific date yet, but we'll talk about that when that happens. And I kind of want to watch a couple. If there's any cool horror ones, it'd be really cool to watch these and shine some light on some of these filmmakers that had their dreams dashed. So just wanted to mention that. Keep an eye out for that, and support these filmmakers any way you can.
That sounds awesome. All right. So
Slugs.
Do we
Slugs
want to
time?
get into Slugs?
Let's get into some Slugs.
All right. This movie is from 1988. Is that the correct date?
Very much from 1988.
Yeah. I liked it. Didn't love it. Yeah. I mean, there's really it's one of those movies that I'm guessing was supposed to be scary. Mm-hmm. Like, we were supposed to take this seriously, right? It's not
I believe so.
I mean,
it definitely doesn't have the like purposeful campy nature of a Velocipaster, or it's more like Uninvited, where this is meant to be a serious horror movie, and it didn't deliver that much at all.
Yeah. Some good effects. I will admit some of them were pretty cool, and
some bad ones.
some bad ones. I couldn't get past the horrible dubbing in this movie. There are certain scenes where it's not happening, but for the most part, most of it seemed like it was all like ADR.
Dubbed. Yeah. So I think with that, I think I would say half of the movie was filmed in Spanish.
Okay, that's what it was. I was trying to figure it out.
So I think it was either filmed in Mexico or it was filmed with Spanish actors. So they did not do a good job of dubbing, and I couldn't figure out why until I learned that. I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's extremely noticeable, and aren't there people in the same scene who one is talking normally and one is being dubbed?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you do that as an actor talking to someone else in a different language? I guess it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I could not find information as to why this is how it was filmed.
I was looking at the credits, and De Laurentiis is one of the names, and I know that, I mean, he's an Italian dude, but I know at least with like the Italian directors, some of them just hire Italian actors and crew.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case, but
the director of this is Spanish, so maybe that was the case. Maybe it was a budget thing. It was cheaper to film somewhere else instead of, you have your main cast as the main dudes, and then it was weird, and it was so distracting. It's especially distracting when they're making like sounds like
yes,
and it's like it does not match with the actor making that sound, and it's just so bizarre. It really does feel like you're watching like a fucking anime or something, and it's just so dubbed weird. So I like this movie. I agree with you. I didn't love it. It was entertaining. It was fun.
Right.
I don't think it was I think because they wanted it to be serious that it didn't go all the way. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I think it could have been better. But it was definitely fun. There was a lot of parts that I found extremely annoying just in the way they shot it and the way that it was filmed. But a lot of stuff didn't really make sense as to what was going on. There were characters who would flip like motivations, I guess, on a dime. Like the main character is going back and forth. Like he's the only one who believes that this is happening, and then someone confronts him and he's like, what are you talking about? Like, he's denied. Like it's so weird.
You're talking about the sewage guy, right? He like talks to the main guy who is a health inspector about these plans, and he just looks at him like, you're crazy, but like he's been dealing with killer slugs before this.
It's so stuff like that is just so frustrating, and but as a whole it is a pretty fun movie. It is very bad. I think it is a great bad movie. Like we always say, for a watch party or something. And I do want to say it is on YouTube for free, but it is also on Amazon Prime. And it is in much better quality on Amazon Prime. So if you do end up wanting to watch it, I would watch it there because it is it's much cleaner. So you want to get into the plot? Okay.
Do you want to just do like a quick like synopsis of it and then?
Sure.
Okay.
So there are evil slugs.
The end.
That's it. No, so this town is being taken over by mutant slugs, but they're not huge. They're just a little bit bigger than normal.
Right. And they're they eat meat.
They eat meat. And we know at least one has teeth. Because we see them. So that's cool. That's it. It's a small kind of rural town, and that's pretty much it.
I think there was like a toxic waste dump that the town was built on.
Yeah.
Is that like how they describe why these became mutant slugs?
We'll get to that. That's later. That's a good 20 minutes from now. We got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Okay, so we open on two teenagers on a boat on a lake.
Yes.
Immediately, the girl strips down.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Not into her bathing suit, but into underwear.
Underwear. Yep. I guess she was just going to go swimming in her bra and pants.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The dude, he has his foot in the water and he's fishing and he gets pulled in. And for like 5 minutes, she's just like, what are you doing, Wayne? You're joking. You're making me nervous. What are you doing? What are you doing? And then a big, giant blood bubble comes from the pond, and she screams. And then we get
title
sequence, Slugs, which looks really cool, I gotta say.
Yeah,
it's like kind of inverted slugs, and it's really cool, really well done. And then we get 25 minutes of credits because this is a movie from the 80s.
Yeah.
And then we get an old man walking alone.
This was, I think, my favorite part of the movie, where these teenage kids run down an old man and his dog
for no reason. We can.
And they call him a scumbag.
Did they?
Or son of a bitch?
I think they call him a son of a bitch.
Yeah, and he's an old drunk dude. He's a wino who is walking his dog
at night. And I felt bad for him immediately. I'm like, why would you do this, you piece of shit?
Right.
And then he does not treat the dog super well.
No.
And then I was like, you are a scumbag. They should have run you over. You're terrible.
Yeah.
He goes into his house. There's an eviction notice. Tosses it aside. He's like,
this is weird. There's an eviction notice on the front of the door. He looks at it, points at it, and goes, fuck, blah, blah. Right? Grumbles in. Then goes inside his house. Dog doesn't want to come in, so he leaves the dog out on the porch. Mm-hmm. Goes in his house. We get a camera view from up on the stairs, looking down at him. There's an overturned chair, and then mail underneath the chair.
Yeah.
And he pulls up the mail, and it goes. He reads it out loud, saying, "Final notice of eviction." And he goes, "You son of a bitch!" And he throws it, and then he goes. It's like
weird.
What?
They really want you to know that he's getting evicted.
Right.
He stumbles through his house. I mean, his house is disgusting. Trash everywhere. It's disgusting. Yeah, and he keeps he's trying to find food, and he eats like an old piece of pizza, and he's like, it's disgusting, and he throws it in his basement. Later we see that his basement is filled with trash.
My first note on this says, rotten pizza, throw it in the basement.
Exactly. Because that's all he does. Then once he throws it, we do see a shot of Slugs for the first time.
Right.
Now, this shot of Slugs gets used 55 more times in this movie.
Yes.
This one shot is used over and over and over. They only had 20 slugs for this movie, and they had to use them. He grabs a beer and lays down on his couch, and we see from behind his couch there's a big back, so we can see his legs like laying on the
right.
Armrest, and he starts struggling and screaming. We don't see what's happening, but something is hurting this old man. Oh God! So we cut to a bar, and we see two couples.
Oh yeah, so weird.
This is a very weird scene. I do not get this at all. This did not need to be in the movie, I don't think.
No.
There's two guys wearing suits. They look kind of like stockbrokery type guys. Mm-hmm. Very like American Psycho, Patrick Bateman type of look. And then there are two, the next to them are two women, wives and girlfriends. I think wives for both of them.
Yes.
And this is where we get the first instance of dubbing, where the couple on the right is eventually going to be the main character, Mike Brady. He's the health inspector. The other couple is, I don't know, that guy works for like, what does that guy do? the guy who's he's not a stockbroker, but he's like working for the city to help secure a deal, like a land deal.
Yeah, he's like some sort of real estate kind of dude. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that guy and his wife are not speaking English.
No.
In the movie they are. In the movie it's dubbed, but you can see it's not. It does not look good.
Yeah, she is apparently on many drinks in and is
raging
drunk.
alcoholic.
Yes, and is embarrassing her
Yes.
husband and the couple she is with. And so the Mike and his wife. I don't remember her name.
I don't remember her name either.
She's a school teacher.
Yeah.
So
They get up and leave because things are getting weird.
Right.
So they leave. As they leave, they run into another couple, which I thought it was a guy and his mom.
yeah,
but it's not.
She's
She's
much
significantly
older.
older than him.
Yeah.
But it's his wife, and this guy works in sanitation. Don't remember
Right.
his name. His
Dan,
name is
maybe?
Don.
Don. Okay.
Was it Don Palmer? I think Don, yeah.
Okay.
He works in sanitation. I don't know if we learned that yet, but spoiler alert, he worked in sanitation. The second note I wrote is when they leave, there is a man sitting at the bar with the biggest fucking mustache I've ever seen in my life.
I missed that.
You missed it?
I
Okay.
missed
Go
the
back
mustache.
and look. He's got a big fucking mustache at the bar. So distracting.
A quick note on this conversation that Don and his wife and Mike and his wife, we need to find out their names.
Yeah.
But
Kim Brady and Mike Brady, Don Palmer and Maria.
okay. So Maria, she also has some sort of accent. It's kind of hard to understand her. She's not, I don't think she's dubbed, but
No.
She tells Kim Brady that her kids call her the wicked bitch of the North.
Yes.
In class. And I was like, what?
Yep.
Why is this? Number one, why would you say that to someone? It just doesn't seem very nice to say. But yeah, she's known by her students as the wicked bitch of the North.
Very strange. And then Kim is like, what? Like confused. And she's like, I have 2 kids who go to blah, blah, blah high school. And she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay, cool.
I would be like, why are my students calling me a bitch behind my back? That's not normal.
Right.
But okay. Yeah, that was weird. That comes up again in a few minutes, and that's the one that like really is weird. So we go to Kim and Mike's home. Kim is putting on like lingerie and making herself look all pretty, and she's talking about their friend, the real estate guy, and his wife, and she keeps asking like, do you find her attractive? Do you think she's attractive?
Right.
And Mike's just like, she drinks a lot. Okay. She jumps on the bed and they start to kiss, and we kind of pan to the window, and there's 2 big ass slugs on the window.
Dun,
Just
dun, dun.
sliming it all up.
Yeah.
Real gross. Mike comes into work the next morning, and he goes to see the sheriff, and they're going to go out to a house call because I think there was a complaint or something.
No, I think I think they're going to evict.
Oh, they're going to actually evict him. That's what that was. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
They're going to go evict the old man.
Right.
Now, they go in the car, and there's this really weird back and forth between the sheriff and this guy and Mike.
I think every single person the sheriff interacts with, the sheriff fucking hates this person.
It's not even that. Everyone is a dick to each other in this movie. Have you noticed? Did you notice that?
Yes,
Except the married couples.
Yeah.
Everyone is mean to each other. Everyone screams at each other. Everyone's talking shit to each other. It's so bizarre. Like the sheriff, I get it. He's the dick of the town. He would be a dick to everyone. But Mike is rude to his secretary. His secretary talks shit to him. Yeah. Like everyone is so weird to each other, and I don't really get why that was a thing. Like. You would think a small town, everyone's close, everyone knows each other.
Right.
I don't know, but that was weird. They have this really weird back and forth where he lights up a cigarette, and Mike lights up a cigarette, throws it out the window, and he's like, "Oh, that's a fine for littering," blah blah blah. And then the sheriff takes out some candy, and he's like, Mike is like, they find rat shit in that, and he spits it out, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna get fined," and it's just awful. It's horrible dialogue.
It's a weird back and forth, and this also happens with the sheriff and his deputy, I guess, Dobbs.
Yeah. Yes,
constantly too. They're both
back and
yelling
forth.
at each other.
Very weird. They go to the old man's house, and why the health inspector needed to be there for an eviction, who knows? But this guy is like, this guy is everywhere. He goes to all the crime scenes. He goes to the plumbing. He goes everywhere. He's the health inspector, and he's like the head dude. He's not the guy that like goes on house calls and stuff.
Right.
Or he shouldn't be. I wouldn't think, but he is.
Yeah.
And they go into this house through a window, door's locked, and they walk into the room where we last saw the old man, and they look at the ground, and they smell something stinky, and they look down, and we see a corpse with, like, the eyes eaten. There's, like, worms on his face, and his skin is gone. His lips are gone.
It's mostly like
looks
skeleton.
pretty good.
Yeah. And
it looks pretty good.
I didn't get this part. There are no slugs on him, but there are worms. So I think later on they talk about there being a parasite that the slugs leave.
Yes. So I think why there needs to be a parasite in addition to slugs, I don't know. But yeah, there are no slugs anywhere. There are very thin, like they look like kind of like spaghetti, like just very thin. They're almost kind of clear and see-through.
Yeah, I thought they were like it looked like a tapeworm almost or something. But then Mike notices slime trails leading to the basement of the old man's house, right?
Yes. So he follows that, flips on the light, and then we see the shot of the basement, and it is just filled with garbage.
Yeah, it's the old man's garbage can inside the house. Yeah, a trash pit.
Disgusting. He deserves death for that basement. I'm just going to say that.
I've never watched the show, Hoarders, but this is what I imagine.
It is. It looks like that
to be like. I mean, his house was disgusting, but Hoarders, I think, like there'd be piles of stuff. Mm-hmm. His stuff was more like
junk.
Just dirt. It was like really dirty and just garbage everywhere.
Yeah, that basement. The house itself didn't look like a hoarder house, but the basement did. Okay. The basement looks like, someone who's been hoarding for 20 years, and it's turned into just trash everywhere.
Gross.
Disgusting.
Yeah. But we don't see the slugs down there, right? There's
no slugs yet.
Again,
they didn't want to use that too quickly. Mike goes back to work, and his secretary is like, "Hey, you have a call," and Mike snaps at her and then immediately apologizes because that's what this whole movie is. And they got a call that someone's sewer is backed up, and for some reason they're calling Mike, head of sanitation. Cool, health inspector. So he meets the head of sanitation,
Don.
who is Don. He meets Don. I'm just going to write down Don because I know I'm going to forget his name in about 5 seconds. He meets Don at this woman's house, and the woman comes out of the house and berates them both.
Yes, yelling at them and saying, what took you so long? What are you doing here? And it's crazy. Just, everyone loves yelling at each other.
It's very weird. And this woman, I especially did not like because she reminded me of my high school German teacher.
Oh, no.
And didn't like her that much. So I was sad when this woman didn't die.
Spoiler alert.
She has a cute dog, though. Spoiler, she doesn't die. I mean, maybe at the end when the whole fucking town blows up. We'll get there.
Oh, I forgot to mention, there is a song that plays when Mike and the sheriff are in the car. Did you notice? It sounded like a TV theme song that was playing. Yeah, it is bizarre. when they're driving to the old man's house, it's so weird. It's just like like an opening to like, I don't know, like a cop show or something.
Yeah. I gotta go back and watch that. We cut to the high school where Mike's wife, Kim, is teaching, and they're talking about this old man that died and how crazy it was. It's a 4-second scene. Again, I don't get why it's in there, because we immediately cut back to Mike and Don, and he has a full like hazmat suit on,
right?
Something that we'd wear to go to the grocery store now. And he heads down into the sewer.
Yes.
And Mike is like, "Oh, that's a cute little suit you got on," or something like that. Like, talk shit about the suit in a like a funny way. Don goes down, and there's a sewage pipe, and he's pulling out trash and plastic and stuff, and then he pulls out like lumps of flesh.
Yeah.
Like bloody flesh.
A lot of it, too.
A lot, yeah. And he sticks he has like a crowbar type tool. He sticks it in more to try to drag it, and it gets pulled inside.
Yeah.
And then he runs away. Because that's not normal. Then we go back to the school where Kim is teaching, and they're teaching about some stupid bullshit. And all the students are shitty.
Yes.
They're all like 80s bitchy kids. And the bell rings, and they're like, she's like, "Hold on, the assignment for tomorrow or next week is blah blah blah." And one of the students stands up and says,
loudly,
not under
whispering.
her breath, she says, "The wicked bitch strikes again."
You would think that Kim would go, "I'll see you after school," or
Yes.
"You're going to the principal's office." Nope.
Yes.
Nothing.
No one says a thing. It's just normal. That same girl runs out to her, I think, much older boyfriend.
Much
older boyfriend. And then we get a super fucking weird part where Mike is sitting outside waiting to pick up his wife. He sees the teenage girl making out with the older guy, and he goes, "Ooh." And he's like, and looks at them and is like, "Ooh, yeah," and smiles like a creep, and he's like, "Ugh." Super weird, super fucking weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because Mike is not creepy, like he's not weird at all through this movie, at least in this way. So I don't get what this is at all. His wife comes out, and they're gonna go to lunch.
And then we get a shot of the students going to lunch, right? They're at like some like soda
diner,
jerk spot, like a diner or whatever. And they start talking about the old man, and what one of them says, "I think what got him was the goat killer." Why would a goat killer kill a man?
Also, what is a goat killer? Is it a goat that kills?
I don't know.
Or is it a guy that kills goats?
Yeah, well, at first I thought she meant like, like El Chupacabra, like the goat sucker. But what? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you say a goat killer killed a dude? He's not a goat.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
It's super weird. They have a conversation that the kids who are making out, the dude is like smoking a cigarette. He's disgusting.
Yeah.
He's awful. And we cut to another group of kids who are talking, and it's just it's all stupid. Like, none of this matters.
Yeah.
These kids should not have really been in the movie. There's one scene later, which we'll get to, which absolutely should not have been in the movie.
Yes.
Because it is just terrible, but we'll get there. Then we cut to probably the best scene in the entire movie.
Are we talking about Harold?
Harold.
I wrote down, well, a spoiler, I just wrote Harold's death. Amazing.
Yes. Harold. Okay. So we get an older couple. Do you know the wife's name?
I do not. Because the only reason I know Harold's name is because she screams his name a lot.
She screams it a lot, and I think he says her name when he's dying, but that's about it. So let's just call her Maud.
Okay.
So Harold and Maud are an older couple, and they're in their greenhouse, and he's planting stuff. She comes in and is like, hey, what are these little eggs? What are these little balls, slimy balls on the plants? And he's like, those are from slugs. Also, this entire thing is dubbed horribly.
Yeah.
Horribly.
Yeah.
She is absolutely awful to Harold, and in like a stereotypical nagging wife way from like a sitcom. They really seem like a sitcom couple.
And he mutters under his breath like, "God damn!"
Yeah, exactly. It is exactly like that. It's like the angry older neighbors in a sitcom.
Right.
Then we cut to the alcoholic. The alcoholic wife, John's wife, I think, or girlfriend. She buys some lettuce from the store, and she puts it in the sink and then pours herself a nice big drink and starts watching TV. As she leaves the room, the lettuce starts to move. We cut back to Harold, and now we see slugs on that plant, and still eggs. So I guess there's eggs and also full-grown slugs.
Right.
Harold comes back with another plant, still muttering to himself. He starts to put on his gloves, and as he puts on the right one, something starts to bite him.
Right.
I think
inside the glove. Yeah.
In the glove. Yeah. He's trying to take the glove off. He can't do it, and he starts slamming his fist on the table, trying to kill whatever is in there.
Right.
Two glass bottles of
some sort of acid.
Some acidic material crash on the ground and start steaming.
Right.
He grabs a pair of shears, and he's trying to cut the glove off of himself. Blood is starting to pour out of the glove.
Right.
And he screams for his wife.
Right.
And she's inside cleaning, listening to music, vacuuming, completely oblivious.
Every sort of noise, you could make to drown out this cries of your husband dying in the greenhouse, she has on.
Jean. Her name's Jean.
Jean.
Terrible.
We cut back to Harold, right? And he's on the floor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the acid is burning through some cables, so that's happening.
Right.
And then he's on the ground, and I think, is this when the entire shelf collapses onto him?
Yeah. I
right?
think that's how he gets on the floor.
Yeah, he's on the shelf. It falls backwards, and on the ground is a small hatchet. He takes the axe in one hand and starts to chop off his own hand. Gene is still vacuuming and changing the radio and flipping stuff, and we see a close-up of him hacking away.
Yeah.
It looks okay. It doesn't look bad.
It's decent. I liked it. Yeah.
Better than I could do, so that's good. And then finally, she hears the screaming and runs in there. She walks in as he's finishing it, which I can't imagine what you must think when you see that. Walking in on your husband, just chopping his hand off. He pulls the stump away from the glove as she walks over to him and is like, what is going on? The wires that were burnt through with the acid start to spark. We cut to the exterior of the house, the greenhouse, and the entire thing explodes.
And this was a real explosion, right?
Yes.
That wasn't a model house that exploded, right?
That looked very real. It was crazy.
A real fucking house for this.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
It looked really good. Really good.
If it was a model, it looked great. Yeah.
We cut to Mike, who's coming back home, and his wife is in the garden, and they're talking about that there are slugs in the garden.
Yes.
Or no, I think he just notices that there's slugs. There's trails, snail trails.
Yes.
Or slime trails, I guess. And they're really goopy and gross. And he kind of looks closer and sees a couple of the slugs. These slugs are I guess we should describe them. They're I don't know, maybe like 7 inches long, I would say.
Yeah.
And they're thick and black.
But like with kind of like an iridescent kind of like film to it, like sort of sparkly. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah. And
they're real slugs. All of these really? Random shots, they're definitely real slugs. So he takes like her glove and he goes to pick one up, and we get a really close up shot, and the snail opens his mouth. Yeah, this is a model now, and bites him on the finger, and we see like little teeth.
Yes.
And I really want this model, and I want to have it in my house because it's so funny.
It is.
He pulls his finger back, and it's like awful fake 80s blood that's super bright.
Super bright red. Yeah, it was crazy.
It's not good at all. He tells his wife to go get a jar. He puts a couple slugs in the jar and then drives to
the school.
Her school where she works to talk to a British scientist who just hangs out there 24/7, just doing experiments in his lab.
Was he a teacher?
I think he's like the chemistry teacher, but he's also like a genius.
Yeah, because
biology teacher maybe.
Later on, they go to him. Later, like he's like the only scientist in this town, so might as well go to the
he's the teacher. He's the dude.
Chemistry teacher.
Maureen, we've learned that Maureen is the drunk wife.
Yes.
Of, the other dude. And the real estate guy.
Right.
She goes and she hears her husband coming home. She fell asleep,
drinking
or passed out.
Yeah.
She's an alcoholic. And she starts to very quickly make dinner. She starts cutting up. She starts cutting up the lettuce, and as she does, we see there is a slug in the lettuce.
Right.
And she cuts through the slug multiple times and doesn't notice that it's squirting blood everywhere, all over the lettuce. So that's
so stupid.
That's great.
So stupid.
So dumb. What do we learn that this guy's name is? John, I think.
John, yeah, I think so.
John comes into the kitchen and is kind of flirty with her, and they start kissing.
One of the best lines in the movie. I believe he says he wanted a steak. She said, we're doing something light. I made a salad.
That's right.
He says, I was hoping for some... And, like, he's being very, like, sexual about what he's saying. He says, I was hoping for some wild hors d'oeuvres. Or something like that. Because,
right.
I forget the exact line. You know what? You should use this as the opening to the podcast.
I have three things written down. This is one of them.
Okay.
For sure.
Something about, like, getting to dessert before the main course, and
it's a really awful. Yeah. It's like a terrible James Bond quip when he's Christmas only comes once a year. Or something. It's a line like that that's just terrible. We cut back to the school where Mike and his wife are talking to the British scientist, chemist, biologist guy, and they give him the slug. And is it supposed to be a weekend at this point?
You know what? I don't know.
Okay, because why is he there?
He's doing experiments.
He is.
We see him before they come in. He is doing some weird test tube things.
And the funniest part about this guy is like they went to the prop store and buy science stuff. There's just beakers filled with different colors of liquid, and there's just all of the stuff you could get at a Home Depot, and they just put stuff in it to make it. Some stuff is steaming. It just looks very generic science lab. So Mike gives him the slug, and they talk about, Mike's like, do they eat meat? And he's like, no, but yes, some do. They talk about all the stuff. He starts to analyze the slime and explains that that's how they travel, and they could sit on the edge of a razor and they'd be fine because they use this to move and whatever.
Right.
So they leave, and he keeps working on his stuff. We cut back to Maureen and John, and this is after they banged and after they ate.
Right.
And John is sitting on the couch preparing for a big meeting tomorrow he has before lunch.
Right.
And his stomach is hurting.
It's like a lunch meeting, he says. He says that this will be... that someone has to sign a deal or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so the story is that he's working for the town. He's working for the town, and he's helping to secure a huge shopping mall that is coming to this town.
Right.
And he's working with the mayor to try to get this nailed down. And the final deal, the final part of this is tomorrow at lunch, and he's going to get the paper signed and finish. He feels kind of sick, but he's pushing through because he has to make this lunch. So he's meeting with the people from Calgore. That's the name of this group.
Right.
Great name. And they talk about like she's like, oh, this is also super weird. I think it's at this point where they're talking and Maureen goes, I'm sorry for being such a bitch most of the time.
Yeah, she's apologizing for her drinking so much.
Yeah.
And
it's weird. And she's like, I know I have a problem. I'm going to work on it. And he's like, that's great, honey.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And it's like,
and it's not worked on. There's no payoff for any of this stuff.
No, earlier in the morning or earlier in that day, she passed out drinking.
Yeah.
And this is a few hours later, and she's not mean to him. She's not bad. She's not acting out toward him. So I don't know. Like this whole alcoholic subplot.
Yeah, it
makes no sense.
It's pointless.
It's totally pointless.
Yeah.
We cut to the gross teenager dude from the beginning who was making out with the underage girl.
Right.
And he's sitting outside this home and waiting for... It's her home, waiting for her parents to leave. When they do, he comes in, they start making out, they go downstairs to the bar, and they start undressing, and he's drinking, and it's weird.
It is.
Again, well, I mean, they have a scene later that's pretty good, but...
Yes, they do.
So then we cut back to the chemist. It is now night, and he's still working in his lab.
He's got a guinea pig to his left and a hamster to his right, I believe.
Now, this is very weird. So he starts to dissect a slug.
Right.
Did they actually kill a slug for this?
I don't know. I think so.
It looks like they cut a slug in half.
Yeah.
In real life.
Yeah.
Because it looks like that slug is moving, and then he stabs a knife into it, and all the guts come out.
Yeah.
And then it stops moving. So this is 88 or whatever this was filmed, so maybe the animal cruelty laws were a little bit more lax, but that was kind of gross.
Yeah.
One of the slugs from the jar escapes and crawls into the...
Which does it crawl into? Because it's weird because...
It's shot weird. It's confusing how it's shot. You see close-ups of the mouse to his right. I think it's to his right because the jar is next to it.
Okay.
Also, wasn't there only one slug in the jar? I could have sworn there was one.
They say that they have two in there, but it did look like there was just one.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to his right because he looks to the right, but there is also a guinea pig to the left, so it's just, it's filmed weird.
Yeah.
Then they show you hear the mouse like screeching a little bit, and oh god, excuse me. And they cut to the mouse, and this is, I don't know how they filmed. Again, weird animal laws.
Yeah.
They have a mouse with this fake slug.
Is it a mouse or a hamster? Now I'm confused.
Oh, maybe it's a hamster. Well, I don't know the difference. It's very tiny.
It is.
It's a mouse or a hamster.
Yeah.
I guess it's a hamster. Yeah, it looks like a hamster. And they have this fake slug on its back, and it's like covered in blood, and it's like struggling, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, the hamster / mouse is having a hard time walking with this fake thing attached to it. It's also covered in like a blood or like a weird goopy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just looks, it doesn't look right.
No.
Then we cut straight into that teenage asshole. Like we cut to see his fucking ass, and he and his girlfriend are just banging it out. I think this is the first time we've seen nudity in all of our movies that we've watched, right? Like this is a straight up hardcore sex scene.
Yeah.
And it's weird because she's a teenager in high school, and in the movie, obviously she's probably not, but kind of weird. As they're banging, they cut to the bathroom downstairs, which is right next to them, and there's hundreds of slugs coming out of the toilet. He puts his foot down, and a slug bites him on the toe or on the foot. He rips it off. She freaks out, stands up, slips on the slugs. They're both fully naked, and she falls on the ground.
Yeah, and the floor now is covered with slugs, too.
100%. You cannot see the floor. It's just covered in slugs.
Yeah.
She falls down. Again, this is super weird, but like she gets slugs all over her body, covered in blood. He gets some blood on him. He's trying to help her. She looks up at one point, and like half her face is eaten, and like her eyes missing.
That looked cool.
It looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bobby is the dude. He's trying to leave and just leave her as she's like dying.
Yeah, he's going for the window.
He's going for the window, and he doesn't make it and kind of falls down, and we assume dies.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This was I thought that was pretty explicit for 1980 whatever. Like it was.
Yeah.
You straight up see some butthole in this shot.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Full nudity, full slug on nudity.
Slug on nipple action.
Yeah.
We cut back to Mike Brady in his own home, and we get like weird flashes of things that he's been experiencing. It's weird. He goes outside and he's trying to kill the slugs with slug poison or whatever, repellent. She's like, why don't you use salt? He's like, you're a genius. And then goes in the house to get salt, and we never talk about that ever again.
Nope. Not mentioned again.
We cut back to John, who is still feeling sick in the morning, and he's getting ready for his big meeting. He leaves, and then Mike is called to the house where these two teenagers were, and they walk in and see their bodies. Not a single slug to be found. All the slugs disappeared.
Yeah.
The sheriff is, again, super pissy that Mike has shown up.
Right.
And he's like, you're not allowed here. What do you want? Blah, 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 blah. And at this point, Mike now has a theory about what's going on.
Right.
And as with every movie that's like this, no one believes him, and everyone calls him crazy. And it's so frustrating to me because something's clearly going on.
People are being eaten by something.
Yeah. And he's like, what do you think? What's next? Rampaging crickets? Eating mosquitoes? Like, God, you're such a dickhole. So he screams at the deputy to take pictures, and it's just awful.
Yeah. Do you think, like, maybe this was written in a different language and translated poorly?
Maybe.
Because, some of it just doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't, I don't know. There's something about this.
It's very weird. I think that's very possible. This is the point in the movie where Mike is driving all over town, back and forth, and he's going to one place, then the next place, and the next place, and the next place. No cell phone, so he's talking on the phone. Wherever he goes, talks on the phone there, drives to the next place. Really annoying. Terrible writing.
People are leaving him messages. He's got to call this person, and this person go there. Yeah.
Goes to his office. His secretary said, go see Don. He goes to see Don. He's on the way. He's on the way to Don's house. Mm-hmm. Then we cut back to John and Maureen, and he's not feeling good. He took some aspirin. She's like, you should stay home. And he's like, no, I have to go. I have to make this meeting.
Now, he says it's a stomach ache. at first.
Yeah,
right?
I think he also has a headache.
Okay, all
right.
right. Yeah, later
I think
he says
both.
at the lunch meeting he says he has a headache.
Yeah. We cut back to John and the health inspector, or no, the sanitation guy, Don, and Don has a map out and is saying, like, here's where all of these spots are happening. Here's where people are dying on this map.
Right.
And then I think this is where, is this where? No, it's right before this. So he's showing him on the map. This is all the locations, and it's all kind of in one area. Mm-hmm. We cut back to John, who's now at this big lunch with these people. This entire scene, every single character is dubbed in this, and it sounds horrible. The waiter, the waitress, everything. And they're talking about how he feels kind of sick, and he's like, one of the guys is like, do you want to postpone? He's like, no, let's just finish this. Right. At this point, the deal is done. Just sign the papers and go home. Yeah. But no. He starts to drink, and he's like, they have a toast. He's like, I need to go to the bathroom. He goes to the bathroom, and he's sweating, and he's wiping his face. He washes his face, wipes it, and there's blood coming out of his nose. And he wipes that away, and then he goes back to the table. And they order, their food comes, the drinks come, and they're like, all right, cheers. And he puts the drink up to his mouth, and blood pours into his drink.
Lots of blood.
A lot of blood. And he starts, his head is just pounding. He's grabbing, he's screaming, and he's in clearly a lot of pain. He collapses to the ground. Blood is spewing out of his mouth and his nose. And they show the reactions of people watching. They cut back to John, and his eye explodes, and a bunch of these parasites blast out. I think this looks awesome.
Yes.
It looks really creepy, really cool. And his face just explodes pretty much.
Yeah. This was those effects were really, really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed those.
We cut back to Don and Mike, and this is where we get the whole that this location used to be a toxic waste dump.
Yes.
Because, of course.
Right.
And there was a toxic waste dump back in the 50s, I think.
Right, and then they covered it up.
They covered it up and built on top of it, I guess.
I think so.
Because this location is where this big mall is going to be, they're thinking that a bulldozer clipped it and exposed this gas. And they're like, we don't know what's living down there, what's been down there for 20 years or whatever.
Right.
They get a call that something happened at this restaurant. They go to the restaurant, and the sheriff is arguing with the chef.
Right.
The Italian chef about are there worms in the food, and he's like, your mother has worms.
Yeah.
And it's so funny and cliche and terrible.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely some Italian cursing, I'm sure, in there.
Yes.
And he wants to shut the place down because he thinks that the sheriff says these guys have worms in their food or whatever.
Yeah, he thinks it's from the food, and Mike is like, it's not from the food. Like, listen to my theory.
Right.
I think even Mike at one point says that he thinks it's food poisoning, and then Don, the sanitation guy, is like, his head exploded. It's not from, and then Mike is like, well, you're not an expert.
Right.
And it's like, what the fuck? You've just been talking. You're the one with the slug theory.
Right.
How do you think this is not? Oh man, it's
gotta be
so terrible.
Poisoning. It's got to be.
Don and Mike go back to the scientist, and the scientist tells them that they eat meat, and this is where we get the whole thing about the parasites. They can fertilize their own eggs. They're hermaphrodites, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hermaphrodites. They can fertilize their own eggs. Then we get a random shot of a barn and a guy who died in his barn. I guess it's the farmer,
right?
And he's a skeleton, and he's laying in a big bed of lettuce, and his chest explodes with blood, and that's it. And we never see him or talk.
Nope.
He's just a guy who died.
Yeah, I think this was just to show off another effect. Like, it wasn't not...
And to say, these things are happening all over town.
Right.
Mike gets called home from his wife. She's panicking. He gets there, and there are slugs coming out of the faucet in the sink. He uses a frying pan to smash them, which is really funny. And he calls the sheriff to say, like, hey, what's going on? Or not the sheriff. He calls the Mr. Phillips, who runs the water department, I think. Is he like the water guy?
Yeah, he wants him to shut parts of the water.
I think he wants him to shut off water for the town because he's like, oh, they're going through the pipes. This is how this is happening. And the guy, of course, is like, no, fuck you. This is not going to happen. You can't. You don't have authority. You need the mayor. You need this and that. Get out of here. He's eating a hamburger. And the secretary is like, that guy's secretary. Oh yeah, water department. He's the head of the water department. Okay. His secretary goes to lunch. We pan to the toilet, and the lid is bouncing up and down.
Right? Yeah.
Amazing.
Something's in there.
Something is in there.
I think it's slugs.
Or it's a big poopy. We cut to the mayor, and we are with the two people who were at lunch with John.
Right.
And the mayor is like, everything's still in place. It sucks that he's dead, but
it sucks that
he
this
died
guy's
an hour ago.
Head exploded in front of you.
You witnessed a man's eye explode. Come sign the papers. This is like an hour and a half later. So great.
The deal's still on, even if the
deal's still on.
Head explodes with worms.
We still want to bring thousands of people here yearly and get this business going, even if their heads are fucking exploding with worms. Mike busts into this meeting, talks to the mayor, and is like, hey, we have to shut off the water. We have slugs in our water, which is a great line. And he's telling them the plan. And the mayor is like, get the fuck out of here, call security. He goes, Mike goes to these two guys, like, you can't sign these documents. There's an emergency happening here. And they all laugh at him. And he's like, well, if there's slugs in the water, if we turn on our faucet, they're going to come out, right? So they all walk to the bathroom. Mayor turns on the faucet. It's just water.
Right.
And they all look at each other like, yeah. They sign the papers, and
also,
Mike storms out.
The mayor had like a secret bathroom. Did you notice that? He opens up the fucking bookcase, and there's a bathroom.
He has like a Batman bat cave. It's crazy. It's awesome. I want one. The secretary for the water department guy, she comes in, and she notices that he is dead in the bathroom.
Right.
Or no, is he dead or... Yeah, he's dead in the bathroom, covered in slugs. Yeah, he's dead.
Is he covered in slugs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so this is the first dead body we see that has slugs on it.
Actually slugs, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fresh. He still has his eyes and everything, so I think they're like eating his stomach or something. We cut back to the doctor... or the chemist, and he has figured out a chemical that can kill slugs.
Right.
And it works by, it reacts to water. So when it touches water, it explodes.
So dumb. It's so dumb.
Mike is like, can we use this in the sewer without blowing up the town? And the chemist goes, you know what? I think it's worth a shot.
What do we have to lose? So a whole town exploding?
Yeah. They're going to go into the plan is to go into the sewer, get all of them get all the slugs in one spot somehow.
Yeah,
and light them all on fire.
They don't really tell you how they plan to coerce the slugs to get in one spot. Except
but Mike
has a bag full of meat.
Mike's plan is to lure the slugs with a bag of meat. These slugs that have been eating full-size humans, he has like a little trash bag full of meat scraps, and that's the plan to get them there. But spoilers, that's too far. We cut back to Don, and him and Mike have a conversation at their house, and Mike is like, "This is the plan. You got to help me." And Don kind of goes and says goodbye to his wife, Mom. And he was like, Don was like, "When I get back, maybe we can get naked and do something." What is that line there?
Oh man, I wish I wrote this down.
It's so terrible. Yeah. Oh yeah, he said, "How about when I get back, let's get naked and go crazy." So terrible. Awful. And Mike goes back home trying to find his wife. He goes to his basement and sees that it's covered in slugs. And they find out that... she had just found out that their friend, John, has died. And right. Mike has not handled the fact that his friend is dead. Like, it's never brought up. He knows it's his friend, but you think there would be like a moment of, holy shit, my friend's dead. Right. But no. He's too busy fighting these slugs.
My friend's head exploded at a restaurant.
We cut to the chemist, and he's making a big drum full of this right. chemical. No lid. He transported no lid. So he just does that. They meet up. Oh, then we cut to a high school party. Oh, by the way, it's Halloween.
Yeah, it's only mentioned like
in passing. It's Halloween night.
Yeah, Halloween
that this is
party
happening.
They go to.
There's a Halloween party in the woods. All the teenagers are there, making out, kissing, dancing. It's a fun time. So we go back to to Don's office, or Don's like garage, where he's setting up his truck with all the chemicals. Right. They're all putting on all their suits and stuff, and they're going over the plan. And they start to drive over to where this is going to be, where they're going to go into the sewer and make this happen. So this is when we cut back to the kids, and this is, I'm just going to go through this whole scene here.
Yeah.
I don't get why this is in the movie, and this makes no sense, and it's super fucked up.
Yeah.
So, teenagers are talking. There's a couple, and the dude, her boyfriend. I guess it's her boyfriend, or they're kind of together.
This wasn't the kissing. Goat killer girl, was it?
No, this was a different girl.
Okay. We haven't met this person before.
I think she was at the table with the other guys, but I don't think she spoke.
Okay.
So they go up to a tree and they start making out. And this story is cut out over the next couple scenes, but I'm just going to go through it all here because it's terrible.
Yeah.
And he keeps trying to feel her up, and she's like, "No, I don't like you that way." And he's like, "Well, fine, fuck off." Right. And he leaves her alone in the forest. She's kind of walking around, and before that happens, another guy came up to her and offered her pizza, and she said no, and he got really mad. Right. And he put on a Halloween mask and slinks off into the forest.
Right.
She's walking around in the forest. I don't know if she's lost or if she's just walking around. But he's
not really established.
This guy in the mask is following her, and when he gets his moment, he jumps on her and tries to rape her.
Right.
And she's screaming like, "No, get off me, get off me." She gets out of it, and then she falls. She's running away from him, and she falls into a sewer, and she falls into where all of the slugs are, and she dies.
Yeah.
And they eat her alive. And the dude runs off, and nothing happens to him.
Yeah, we don't see him again.
So, what the fuck?
You would think it would be she kicks him off of her, and he falls into the sewer. He's the bad guy that's going to die by the slugs. But no, it's the rape victim that dies.
Yes, she first her boyfriend, whatever, is being a total piece of shit.
Yeah,
she just got to fend off that guy. Then she fends off a rapist, and then she gets killed by these slugs. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't understand what the thought process is of this scene of all of these. Yeah. All the kids. There's no kids need to be in this movie. It doesn't make any sense.
No, yeah. I mean, they help the story in no possible way. Mm-hmm. There's
they add nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
This whole teenager, like when the big finale happens, it doesn't affect the teenagers at all.
No.
When things explode and nothing happens to them, and we never see them again.
Right.
We know that Dawn has 2 kids,
Yes.
but even they are important. They don't do anything. They're playing football one day, and that's it.
Oh, that reminds me. Okay, so this is the first, I think, we see Don playing with his kids before Don puts on his hazmat suit for the first time. He's wearing a football jersey. Number is 42 on both the front and the back. When he's putting on his hazmat thing, the number has changed.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm going to go back to it.
I'm pretty sure it is not 42.
Yeah, so when he's in the kitchen talking to his wife, it does look like it's 42.
Okay.
Yeah, 42.
Okay, so
now
this
I'm
is the second time he puts on his hazmat thing. Because he put it on before to check out the sewer by the lady who was complaining. So this is the second time he puts
second
it on.
time.
Okay.
So it's 53. It's 53.
That's so weird.
Why? That's so weird. Yeah, I didn't notice that. That's a good catch. Yeah, so now they're driving to the sewer entrance. They pop open a manhole cover, and that's how they're going to get in there. The plan is these two, John and Don, or Mike and Don, are going to go into the sewer. They're going to lure them with a bag of meat to this one spot. They're going to escape from above that spot, and then the scientist is going to dump all of this liquid, and it will all explode. That's the plan. Flawless.
I believe Don mentions this is not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing a thing that explodes when it touches water into a sewer system.
Which is connected to the entire town.
Right. And Mike doesn't say anything about it?
Nope.
Yeah,
He just,
okay.
nope, this is the plan.
Yeah.
It's the plan. You got to go with the plan. So the dudes go down, and there are slugs everywhere. They're maneuvering through. They kind of they don't get lost, but the place that they want to go is covered in slugs.
off,
They can't get that way. It's blocked. So there's a scene where Don takes a little torch and lights a power line, which then drops into the water, and you see terrible electricity effects.
Yes.
And he fries like the path that they need to go down. I think.
Yeah.
Terrible. It reminded me of, I think, Ghostbusters 2. Was there like an effect like that in Ghostbusters 2, or maybe something else? It's terrible.
Yeah. It is a bad effect.
Really bad.
Yeah.
So they keep going down the sewers, and they get to this big, they're under the old factory. They say that like 900 times. The old factory, right? The old factory. And now that we're in the sewers, we see a ton of slugs. This is the first time that they're using fake slugs, and they're not moving.
No.
So, you see hundreds and hundreds, thousands, and they're not moving, but they have the sound effect of the moving slugs. I get that I don't know how you would do that, but you got to figure it out. They look like gummy worms that are painted black, literally. So they get to this big vat area, and the chemist, they give him a pickaxe to get up the manhole cover.
That was weird.
Don has a tool that's designed to pop it out,
right.
And they give him a pickaxe so he can't get this manhole cover open. This is where they need to escape. And before they go in, Mike is like, give us 2 minutes to get out or something.
Yeah,
if we're not out, dump it.
Do it.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they get
risking
trapped.
our lives.
Yeah, and they're calling for him, and his walkie-talkie is off.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
also not good walkie-talkie etiquette at all goes on.
I agree.
He doesn't say over when he's done talking. He says, or when he's done with the sentence, he says over when he's done completely, I believe you're supposed to say over and out.
Yes.
But does not say it, and
Doesn't.
no one else uses walkie-talkie etiquette at all. Yeah.
It's terrible. Yeah. They all deserve to die for that.
Yes.
Now, they get to this big vat where the water is bubbling, and this is Slug Central, okay? Mm-hmm. There's not a single slug in this fucking room.
No.
There is 0 slugs in this room. Not on the water, not on the walls. This is like literally the epicenter of where this is all happening. They show that fucking shot of the slugs a dozen times. There's none when they show this actual room.
Right. It's basically just a big giant hot tub.
Exactly. And when he starts throwing the meat in, and the guy, Don is like, just dump the whole bag, and he dumps it, and it's like a few pieces of chicken. Like, it's all it is. So they're trying to escape. They can't get out. When they dump the water in, it starts to bubble because I guess the slugs are going crazy for this sweet, sweet beef. It's
at Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. And we cut to the chemist, and he's trying to open the manhole cover, and then the sheriff walks up, and we're like, oh no, he's going to bust him. Cut back down, and Don pops open this like escape hatch, and he gets blasted with a big wave of water, and he gets shot backward into this vat. Right. We do see slugs now when he's sinking, but they're just floating in the water. It's like, just looks like trash.
Yeah.
And he comes back up, and he's covered in slugs, and blood's starting to pour out. And it's like piranhas, like they're just eating him alive.
Right.
Mike like ninjas his way across a pipe and like does this inverted like hang down. He has his legs wrapped around it, and he's trying to get him out. He can't get him. So Don dies.
Yeah, that was sad.
It was sad.
I'm glad that he did get to say goodbye to his wife, mother.
Yeah. His wife, mother, yeah. And then there's a shot, which I think is awesome. It's a shot of his body, like, floating up, and his head, all his mask is gone, and, like, you see his dead face, and it looks really creepy.
Yeah.
Like, it, like, genuinely looks, like, kind of scary. Like, half of his head's, like, ripped off, and it looked like his eyes are all fucked up, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
So Mike, there's also just a ladder in this room.
Right.
So why couldn't they just do what he did and go to the ladder? But fine. He gets open. He gets to the ladder. Right as he does, the sheriff has decided to help this chemist. For some reason, now that he's just, I guess, believes that there's stuff happening.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Who cares? They get out, and Mike is like, do it now. And they dump all the stuff in, and it ignites, and you see, like, slow motion of the fire, like, lighting the entire sewer system on fire. You see the slugs burning. Again, not moving.
Right.
And then manhole covers across the entire town blow up.
Right.
Businesses blow up, and then a fucking house blows up. Someone's house with the lights on blows up.
They're dead.
Like, there's a family in there eating dinner, and they're all dead now.
Yeah.
Crazy. We cut to the party. There's a manhole cover in the forest, I guess.
Right.
And that blows up. And then there's one of my favorite shots. They have a car that blows up, and they show that car blowing up from different angles.
Yes.
Because they only had one car, I'm guessing, and it's made to look like multiple cars. It's really funny. And there's, like, stock footage of a fire, an ambulance, a fire truck, like, racing out of it. And it doesn't match the other footage, so this is an insert shot of something. Then the sheriff is like, oh, good job. And Mike's like, you can go to hell. Like, Don died, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, we could never do it without Don. Don's the man. And then fire trucks pull up, police pulls up, his wife pulls up, and they hug and just kind of walk away and let the police and fire do everything, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we cut to a random grate, and there's a single slug laying on that grate.
Yeah, just
and the music builds up, and there's one left.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the movie.
That's the end.
That's the end. Now, my question. Good plan, right? So you killed the hub. These slugs were everywhere, inside people's houses, in people's bathrooms. I have a hard time believing that this
It's all
got
taken
them
care
all.
of. Yeah, no, totally. I mean,
Like, they were in Mike's basement. Like, the basement, even if there's a bathroom that's connected to the sewer, it's not going to kill the hundreds that were on the ground, in the floor. Like,
yeah. Well, what
this is
about
gonna
like the garbage house? Mm-hmm. The old man. There was tons in there.
unless the meat that they used was designed to bring in every single one.
Right.
Maybe that's why they talked about the bait, but oh my god, that's slugs.
That was slugs. I liked it for what it was. Was not a good movie.
I agree.
But it's a good bad movie to watch with your friends.
I agree.
At a party. There's dumb lines that you could, laugh at. There's some decent special effects. I liked it. But yeah,
it's funny. It's unintentionally funny. I would watch it again with people, and I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
So for the rankings, so I'm going to go through them real quick. Number 1 is Tourist Trap. Number 2 is Velocipaster. Number 3 is Uninvited, and number 4 is He's Out There.
Okay.
So I'm going to go first.
Okay.
This is a weird one. I definitely think so. He's Out There is at last because
right.
While I think it's a better movie than all of them, it's boring and not super fun. And we're kind of going off of what's a fun, enjoyable movie to watch versus like whatever. I think He's Out There is just infinitely better in every way than this movie. But I think because of how we're ranking it, I would put it after Uninvited before He's Out There. So I think Uninvited still has some... I still think Uninvited is better than this movie.
Yeah.
But this movie I think is more fun and has more stupid moments that would be really fun to make fun of than He's Out There.
Yeah, it's a fun movie to watch, whereas He's Out There is not that fun to watch.
Yeah,
and
kind of boring.
But Uninvited, so yeah, you're putting Uninvited above this one.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah, me too.
Okay.
So
cool.
This would be 4th place?
This would be 4th place. So Uninvited is 3rd, Slugs would be 4th place, and then He's Out There would be 5th place.
Cool. Yep, I totally agree.
Awesome. So if you watch this movie, let us know what you think. You can send us an email at ControlAltDeathpodcast@gmail.com. We also have a phone number, 818-457-6887. You can call or text that number and leave us a voicemail, give us your thoughts. Also, you can message us on Twitter or Instagram or wherever. We haven't really been promoting that much, but
that's true.
We have we're at ControlAltDeath everywhere. So Twitter, Instagram, send us a message. What did you think? What are your rankings? I would love to know if you are watching. If you have been watching along with us, give us your rankings. I would love to see how other people are ranking these movies. I think that'd be really fun. So do that. We'll talk about it on the show. We'll read it on the show, and yeah.
Sounds good. That would be awesome.
That'd be really fun. So next week's movie is it's called The Golden Glove, and it's from 2019. It's a German movie, and it's on Shudder.
Yes.
So if you use that promo code for Tourist Trap for Shudder, this is still good for that. If you don't know, there is a promo going on for 30 days free. If you use the promo code SHUTIN, SHUTIN, you'll get 30 days. This movie looks insane.
Yeah, this movie looks like it will actually scare me.
Yes, I agree. It's a German movie. It's supposed to be this like serial killer in the 70s.
Based off of a true story?
I think so. Yeah. And he kills like I think prostitutes and stuff. It looks hyper violent and super messed up and dark. And I'm super excited to watch
Can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, it's called exactly. It's called The Golden Glove, and it's on Shudder. You can probably also get it on Amazon Prime or something. Like it's probably available for rentals on there. But if you use that Shudder code, and let us know. Let us know what you think. We want to start doing some user reviews and reading your guys' thoughts.
Yeah,
and then also if you have any other suggestions for movies we should watch, tweet at us or send us an email, and we're always looking for new stuff.
Yes, for sure.
Cool.
Anything else we got to talk about? Or is that it?
I think that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, have a good one. Stay safe, and don't hoard toilet paper, because I've been having a hard time finding some. And don't be a dingus.
Bye.
Bye.